Here we're going to tie a fly called the Pueblo Emerger. I use this fly down on the Arkansas River in Pueblo, Colorado. It's a blue-winged olive emerger. Works great late fall all through early winter. First thing we're going to do is just get our thread started. I just use black thread. Then we're going to take some olive Antron yarn, about 4 or 5 strands. You don't want to overdo it here. We're just going to tie this in right on top of the shank of the hook. We're going to take our thread back down all the way to the bend. You could trim out that excess Antron. Now I'm going to trim that tail about the length of the shank of the hook. Now the next thing to do is we're going to tie in the body material, which is just some orange Midge tubing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be orange. Green works well. Brown also works well. But if I use black thread, I like to use a tubing that's a little bit brighter. That way it shows up over the black thread. Now we're going to take that tubing, we're going to pull it very tight to the hook, make a nice thin body. We're going to take it about 2/3 of the way up, all the way to the thorax region. And we're going to capture it, tie it off, and trim the excess out of there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some more Antron, about a dozen or so fibers. We're going to tie these in right on top of the shank of the hook. I usually try to tie them in right on top. This is going to be our casing. I'm just going to clean this thorax up just a little bit so we can wrap our thorax dubbing. For that, I'm just going to use some olive superfine dubbing. We're going to apply this to the thread very sparse. You've got to be careful not to overdo it and add too much too fast. Make a nice round thorax. We're going to take our thread right up to the eye. We're going to pull that Antron right over the top, secure it. We could trim out the excess Antron. Take our thread right up to the thorax. Now we're ready to make our legs. I'm just going to take a partridge feather, just like so, and I'm going to strip off all the fluffy fibers at the base of it. That exposes the tip of the feather here. All I'm going to do is just cut a notch into the tip of the feather, and that'll give me a V shape. See, now I have that notch cut out. And I'm just going to take that feather and I'm going to place it on either side of the fly and just measure out the legs, the length I want them. Then I do a nice loose wrap around that feather, pull tight, lay down some more wraps. You'll make a perfect little set of legs. Now I have another trick. I'm going to take that thread, I'm going to take it all the way to the eye, and I'm going to pull tight on that thread. As I pull tight, I can take that partridge feather and just rip it out of there. Now you can see I haven't crowded the head and I don't have any tag ends that'll get in the way and crowd my eye. It's actually the perfect way to add legs to the front of your fly without adding bulk. The trick is you have to pull tight with your thread as you break that feather. If you loosen up on your thread, you'll just pull the legs and the feather right out of place, and it won't do what you want it to do. And I just whip finish it, trim out the thread. And that's all there is to the Pueblo Emerger. Very effective fly in the tailwater there. It's caught a lot of fish for me.